Hello, and welcome back to those of you that are returning. For those of you that are new, my name is Mike Sparrow. I am a 44-year-old man living in San Antonio, Texas, who is using this vlog as a visual representation of my personal growth journey that I've been taking for the last 7-ish months. This is episode 13 or week 13 that I've been doing this, and I have to say that I am progressing through a lot of different things. Obviously, today is Wednesday. This is uh, Valentine's Day, February 14th. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. A little bit somber for me. This first one that I've done on my own in many years. So I have been dealing with that today for the last few days, actually. Although Valentine's Day was never that really big of a deal in my last relationship, it's still one of those things that it's one of those days, right? It's one of those days. And being aware of the feelings that I have and the feelings that I'm going through right now are important for me in my journey. But I digress. I don't really want to talk about that today. Really, what I'd like to talk about today is more about learning lessons. I've been doing a lot of reading lately. I've read a few books. I've talked about The Untethered Soul. I've talked about how recently I just got done reading The Four Agreements. I've also read a book recently called Only, what is it? Only Love is Real. Only Love is Real. It is by a gentleman who is a psychiatrist, and he does a lot of hypnosis work and past life regression therapy. Very intriguing stuff, very interesting stuff about the process and everything that he does. But the big thing that I took from that book, and the thing that I've been taking from a lot of these books, is trying to get a better understanding of the lessons that we have to learn. Um, Not to get too metaphysical or too outside of what's going on with me, but one of the things that I'm starting to kind of have a better belief in and a better understanding of and more of a belief in is that the path that we're on and the direction of our life is very predestined. One that is known before we even start this life. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but I do believe that things like fate and destiny are part of the way that we live our life and part of the things that we do. And every day we're given decisions that are to be made by us to kind of lead us in a direction. It doesn't take us, let me change that. It leads us on a path, and those paths still lead in the same direction, but ultimately we're going to the same place. My therapist and I talked about it last week, and it was funny because it's kind of like going on using your maps on your phone, and you take a turn that might have been different than the turn that it wanted you to go on, and it says it's recalculating, right? So these decisions that we make are all just recalculations to keep us on the path or keep us on in the direction of what our intended destined path is. Along the way, though, we make these decisions, and these decisions create situations that aren't always going to be right. We're going to do things, or things are going to come about that are going to make us recalculate our intended path. And through those, there are lessons that are there to be learned. It's something I'm struggling with right now, something I'm trying to better understand, because ultimately things happen for a reason. We don't always know what that reason is right away. Through grief, through pain, through understanding of situations, whether they be good or bad, there's always a lesson that's there to be learned. And one of the things that I'm figuring out is sometimes those lessons are going to slap us right in the face. Sometimes those lessons are going to be things that we're going to learn and we're going to use right away. There are things that are lessons that we need to where we can continue down this path whether it be for growth, for prosperity, for just overall positivity within our lives. And sometimes the lessons that are to be learned through the things that happen in our life aren't for that present moment. They are things that need to let settle. They are things that need to marinate, I guess you would say, for lack of a better word, to uh, get the better understanding of what it is that we have going on. Everything that happens in our life is a lesson. The universe is constantly sitting and showing us things throughout our day that could be very, very intricate, very, very small, or they could be these huge things that are trying to help us lead in a direction down our intended path. The thing that I'm struggling with in learning these lessons is what is the lesson? What am I supposed to learn? What was the thing that was supposed to be taught to me by having lived the situation that I lived? And I guess I'm having difficulty with it because it's not hitting me, right. There are things that are hitting me here and there as I navigate through my growth and through learning more about myself, and the understanding of the preciousness of time, understanding that not only is time precious, but the way we manage our time is precious. Continuing to be positive even in situations when we're not really wanting to be positive. Understanding the idea of breaking down walls and getting out of our comfort zone. Being more okay with living in things like fear, as opposed to being okay with being fearful and just living how we were. I'm seeing these things. I'm getting a better understanding of them. I'm getting more light. I'm trying to be positive and shine my light and spread love upon this world and manifest the positivity that I want to see in my life. And at the same time, there's still this thought that's in my head that there are lessons that I needed to learn from this situation that I can't figure out. It's hard for me to wrap my head around, and it's hard for me to analytically try and do it. And I think that's part of the problem, is that I'm trying to be too analytical with the way that I am trying to figure these things out. Um, Not all things are going to be black and white. We've talked about that before, right? Things most of the time are going to be within that gray, and that's where we live. A majority of our life is within that gray, and maybe that's the lesson that's supposed to be learned. Again, it is what it is, and I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm trying to see exactly what it is that is the lesson to be learned. Ultimately, it could be all of those things that I just got done saying. Maybe it was a multitude of lessons. Maybe there's many things that I was supposed to learn from the experiences that I just had. I don't know. And the biggest thing that I'm learning about not knowing is that it's okay not to know. Just like it's okay not to be okay, it's okay not to know. I deal with it all the time in my classroom. I don't know everything. When a student asks me a question, I don't know everything that there is to know about the subjects that I'm teaching. I know a lot about the subjects that I'm teaching, but there are certain things that I may not have fully grasped or fully understood, or I'm not teaching it in a way that they understand it. And it forces my hand to have to go back and rethink maybe the way that I'm teaching it, or learning something new. It's a lot to, again, wrap my head around, and it's something that I've been struggling with of late, is knowing that there's lessons to be learned, and knowing that there's things that I should learn from this, but actually pinpointing what it is that I need to take from it. And again, not to get too metaphysical, but the whole idea in the past life regression is that our soul continues on, and maybe the lessons that we learn in this life aren't necessarily for this life, but for our next life. And you never know. It could be that way. The hope that I have right now is that I will figure it out, that this is one of those lessons that needs to marinate a little bit before I figure out how to use it. Maybe there'll be another situation that arises where I will see this come about and I'll be able to use the lessons that I've learned from this past experience to better myself, better my situation. In the meantime, though, uh, I think it's a good place to be in, a good a good thing to not necessarily be struggling with, but at the same time to start to broaden my understanding of that idea of the lessons that need to be learned, instead of grieving over the situation, to actually progress and try and get a better understanding of how I can be better because of the situation that was there. Um, it's been many months since that relationship has been done. There's been a lot of grief. There's been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of stumbles, a lot of falls, a lot of picking myself back up, and a lot of continuing to move forward. And that's what I intend to continue to do, is to continue to move forward. I still hold a lot of love in my heart, not just for that situation, but just love in my heart in general. That my new goal in life is to spread that love upon the world, to be a positive person, to continue to shine light upon the world. The world needs our light, it needs our love. Uh, Getting a better understanding of myself and the unique person that I am. Uh, I'm special, right? We're all special. I have special things about me that make me the person that I am. And maybe that's the lesson. That's my problem, is that I can't pinpoint exactly where or what that lesson is. And there's times that it just drives me mad. And then there's other times where I get great clarity from it. It'll come. I know it will. And when the day comes and I have that aha moment, like the students that I have in my class, when the light bulb dings above their head and I can see that they've grasped that concept, or they understand the thing that we're talking about, I know that time will come for me too. And I know that I'll see it. And until then, I'm going to keep on. I'm going to keep on going, and I'm going to keep on moving. Um, and that's where I'm at. That was my last week. That's what I've been doing. I'm continuing to read. I just got another book from the same author that wrote the Only Love Is Real book. One of his first experiences with a patient that used this past life regression. I find it more fascinating than anything. I think that it's very interesting, and a lot of the lessons that can be learned from the things that are coming, whether this is, all just quackery, or it's true that these things happen. It's all still very, very intriguing and very interesting to me, and I'm looking more into it just to kind of see where this whole idea goes. But um, yeah, my head's high, one foot's going in front of the other, and I'm keeping on moving forward, because just like time, that's the only thing we can do, is just keep moving forward. Things in this life are going to happen the way that they're going to happen, and ultimately we're going to reach whatever destiny there is for us. And until then, we just have to keep moving forward. Thank you for watching. I appreciate everyone that does, and happy Valentine's Day. I hope you have a great day, have a great week, and I'll see you again next Wednesday.